Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to White Gold Corp's live summit today, hosted by Six. I'm very pleased to introduce our speakers today. We have David D'Onofrio, the CEO and Director of White Gold Corp, Shawn Ryan, the co-founder and Chief Technical Advisor and Director, and we have Terry Brace, VP Exploration. The team is going to walk us through a company presentation, and then afterwards we will be accepting questions live. So as a reminder, you can feel free to submit questions at any time using the Q&A panel on the right-hand side of the screen, and we're going to try to get to as many as possible after the presentation. And as always, the summit is being recorded and available to watch afterwards on six.com. And a copy of the presentation is available for download under the handouts tab there. So feel free to download it and follow along. Without any further ado, I'm going to hand it over to you, David, to kick it off.
Perfect. Thanks so much. Great to be here. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. White Gold Corp is a pretty exciting company that we've done some very great things with over the last 5 years since inception, and really excited to take the opportunity to tell you a little bit more about the company, what we've done, and what we have planned for this year. Great time for us to be doing a webinar. Our team is literally mobilizing in the field, and we're hopeful to have drills starting to turn in a few days. For those that may be not familiar with the company, White Gold Corp, our company, our package is based in Yukon, Canada, and are right in the Dawson district, also known as the Klondike. And this area was made infamous 125 years ago. It's the epicenter of the major Klondike gold rush, which saw 20 million ounces of gold produced from that time right till current days. And if anyone's seen the shows on Discovery or whatnot, you can know that that's still very actively being placer mined. What's interesting is that despite the tremendous amount of gold that has been discovered literally scratching the surface, not a lot of modern day exploration had been done in the area. Not at least until our partner here, Shawn Ryan and co-founder, decided he would go there to test his thesis that with that much gold, there's got to be more under the earth. And he has been incredibly successful in proving that thesis. And that really sort of came to light a little over 10 years ago when, after some very innovative prospecting technology and approaches, he was able to make two major multi-million ounce discoveries that were ultimately acquired by major mining companies. The real stuff that junior mining dreams are made of. And through the time, I think he's really developed an incredible understanding of the area. And with the formation of this company, we've been able to tie up an incredibly amazingly large land package. And, it's just the kind of thing that I haven't seen a junior company be able to do. I've been involved in this business for a long time now, and I really do think that this company is very unique on a number of levels. One is we have this incredible land package in such a great jurisdiction as the Yukon. It's a very favorable jurisdiction for building mines. We're seeing people getting permitted, new mines coming into production, all the right things you want to see. The geology has just been so rich, and what little modern day work's been done has been so productive in forming these and discovering these new deposits and ore bodies. And, specifically as it relates to our land package, I couldn't be happier with the amount of success that we've had in the field. And it's really been, a great process that, I'll let you, Shawn, get into a little bit more of how we sort of look to delineate these targets. And now in the evolution of our company, we're right at the precipice of what I'll call the discovery delineation stage. Just last year, we've had two major, what I'll call world-class discoveries, one on our Betty project, drilling 50 meters of 3.5 grams basically from surface, one of the probably highest tenor holes in all of Canada last year. And on another one of our projects on the Yuli's Ridge, 20 meters of 7 grams. These are, really, really impressive holes. What's particularly exciting about that discovery is that it's just 2 kilometers from our flagship deposit. And that's the other side of this company that, makes me so excited. So we have this incredibly exciting discovery pipeline, which we're just starting to get into now, but we also do have a very significant defined deposits, approximately 1.8 million ounces across all categories. It's 2+ grams, open pittable for the most part. So you really do get the best of both worlds with this company. But what I think is most impressive is that we're really at the very early stages in the discovery cycle of this district. It's in a great place. that, I believe is further supported by the fact that we've been able to attract two major mining companies as our partners, which are Agnico Eagle and Kinross. These are some of Canada's best known companies, and really understand how to work in this type of jurisdiction. And we're also surrounded by other sort of top quality mining companies. Newmont is contiguous to our Betty property. To the west, one of the largest mining company in the world, and Western Copper, our other neighbor, is partnered with Rio Tinto. So if you take a step back, I think what these companies certainly share a belief in that this is a brand new camp, and our goal and dream is that it could have the potential of a Timmins or a Nevada or a Val-d'Or, and for us to be able to own basically 40% of the district, almost 1 million acres, north of 1,000 square miles, in one company is, almost, too good to be true. But Shawn, through his tireless efforts over 20 years, has been able to compile this package and really sort of cherry pick the best of the best and point to this company. And we're thrilled to be a partner with it. We've supported him from the very beginning, and he's been extremely successful in defining these zones. The drilling team, led by Terry Brace, who's joined us today, has been incredibly successful in making new discoveries on Maiden drill programs. And we think that the prospectivity of the package today, we believe it's we're more optimistic than we've ever been. We put our theories to the test. They've been successful, and we are about to kick off a $6 million campaign, one of the most active in the districts. And we're very excited on what we think will be a focused and very impactful for our overall strategy, which we'll get into in a little bit later. With that, I think maybe I'll turn it over to Shawn. He can give you a little bit of the background, the district, what brought him there, how things have changed, and sort of what he sees in terms of the opportunity for the company that lies ahead for us.
Okay, thank you. What you're seeing here, the figure, all them claims in orange, those are all the claim packages that White Gold has. And they're a combination of, in that map sheet, over the last 15 years, we've gathered over 600 to 700,000 soils, like between claims that ground that's not, or that we dropped. But the big point that I'm trying to make here is that White Gold, after this big soil campaign, geochemistry, with 500 to 700,000 soils, we basically, we outlined a bunch of mineralized systems, and they're like haystacks. You're not quite sure where the needles are yet, but where the mineralized systems. So that's what those claims that I kept from the big push from 2010 and 11. That's what they represent. So it's 80% of the gold anomalies in surface from soils in this district. So that's why the claim package is quite unique that way. And then what we ended up doing is, when you look at this district, and it's the big question everybody has is, when's a gold district a gold district? When does it become a camp? Well, when you start looking at the ounces of Casino next to our Betty, there's pretty well 20 million ounces there. You look at the coffee, when Kamenak had it, there was about 4.5 million ounces. It's been reduced to 2.5 now for just the oxide. And then now you throw in, 1.8 million ounces on the white and VG together. Now you're starting to accumulate a bunch of ounces, and then add 20 million ounces of placer, that they kind of, figured that was taken from the district. You're looking at well over 45 million ounces, like well over it. So that's where I'm kind of getting at. When's a camp a camp? So this has basically been slowly building. Like Casino was found in the early 70s. So this whole camp has been building over time. But now what we've got is the geochemistry, and now you can see that dash road, the Gateway Resource Road that's coming through most of our claim block on the way to the coffee project. So that's going to be a funded project that the government is going to basically help fund. Basically, once the coffee project's given a go-ahead. So then that's coming right through our camp, like most of our claim blocks. So the interesting part is the white project, the Golden Saddle, will be tied into that road system. So eventually we'll be able to drive a fuel truck right to the property. So, but what I'm getting at, I'm coming from the Timmins camp, and the idea was that if we have a heap leach plant from the coffee project, up in production, and then you have the Golden Saddle, which is a standard grind and mill kind of circuit with a little bit of gravity. Those were the big thresholds. You'll get a couple of mills up and running. And then if we find anything on that road system, because our critical mass is usually, 2 to 3 million ounces to put it into production. Then if we find something that's 500,000 ounces on that road, close to that road system on our claim block, then that could be trucked to a mill. And that's what they're doing in Timmins. So that's kind of the cool part, is these satellite deposits become valuable also if we find them in the future. So that the original intent of White Gold was, so we go back to that earlier slide there, Jerry, is that we had all these portfolio projects. They represent all high quality targets. And we're going to systematically work the early stages. And then once we get them into the drill stage, then we bump them into the RAB or diamond drill stage. And then if they have some really good legs, then we drop them into a more aggressive drill program, like such as the Golden Saddle that we've done and the Arc. So what's kind of coming through the pipeline now is like the Uli's Ridge was a brand new discovery using RAB. And the Betty, we basically were following up on RAB targets from 2 years ago. So it's a stage event. And then when we go to diamond drill it, because it's the more expensive version of figuring out the answer, then we basically, we have some really good targets lined up. So that's kind of so we always have new projects coming through the pipeline. And then basically we hit it with this like step-by-step process. So that's kind of the scenario. So yeah, the point of the story is we actually always have brand new targets coming through the grapevine, because we have so many projects to work with. And like I say, they all represent high quality soil anomalies. So you can move on, I guess. Yeah. I'll let Terry jump in on this one. So that was kind of the history of the company and what we're kind of the regional. But Terry could jump in I'll jump back in later, but he could talk about more the mineral resource and some of the targets we were chasing up last year.
Okay, thanks, Shawn and Dave. Good intro and some history there from Shawn and Dave. These are basically our most advanced projects. These are the ones with the mineral resources. The Golden Saddle and Arc you can see in the slide in the top right there. And the VG deposit is in the lower right. But if you look at the table there on the left, you can kind of see, we've done mineral resource estimates, actually several on Golden Saddle and Arc, and we updated the one on VG last year. But I think the key takeaway here is, we've got, three near surface gold deposits, primarily by and large, all open pittable. You can see the Golden Saddle in the top row there in the table. We've got about 1.1 million ounces, grading 2.3. That's in the indicated category. And an inferred resource, about 159. So the lion's share of that Golden Saddle is, open pittable and in the indicated category. The Arc deposit is basically right adjacent to the Golden Saddle. Is a bit different. It's slightly lower grade, but again, you can see just about 200,000 ounces in the inferred category, 1.22 grams per ton, and about another 21 ounces in the indicated. So, that's our sort of a flagship project. The VG deposit is located on the other side of the Yukon River, about 10 kilometers to the north. That's one we acquired from another junior Comstock Metals a couple of years ago. But you can see there 267,000 ounces at 1.6. And again, it's near surface open pittable. So that's kind of, a summary of our resources. We think it's a very good resource base to start with. There's certainly lots of room for expansion on these deposits. There really hasn't been any serious effort to do, to follow these things underground. You can see there is a small underground component to the Golden Saddle, but again, the main focus by White Gold and previous operators really was that open pit near surface material. So,
Yeah. And Terry, if I could just jump in for 1 second, what we've done strategically in the last couple of years, as Terry mentioned, we believe this is open in a number of different directions, and the ability for this to increase significantly is certainly there, just with, additional drilling. And, and what is remarkable, this project and our other properties.
I was in Maidens.
Such a small amount of drilling has actually been done. So, that opportunity is certainly there. But as a junior resource company, we really figured that we get, the best bang for our buck and return on investment by identifying new zones of mineralization within a close proximity that would be accretive to the same project. And that's what we've been doing. And, we've been very successful making 2 brand new discoveries in the last few years, which we'll be following up on this year. And Terry will get into that a little bit more. And, but on its own, if you look at, how does this resource stack up compared to maybe some other different companies, right? We're basically sort of just bumping on 2 million ounces, 2 grams a ton, open pit. The number of those types of deposits of that tenor and size and grade profile are few and far between. Now, this has not gone through a PEA yet. We've done our own internal desktop studies. People, have the ability, all this is in the public domain, to do their own calculations. But I think, on a high level, it should be pretty clear that the potential for very robust economics is certainly present. And, we believe that, this type of an asset on its own, would represent a very sort of profitable type of an operation. And, from our perspective, we're considering, moving that forward just to, allow for people to better understand that. But, we're very, very pleased with what we've seen in terms of that house. And the metallurgy has been, especially on the Golden Saddle, where we've had done the work, is 90% plus type stuff. So, very, very strong metallurgy. So everything you want to see. And, this is why, we're so thrilled to have this as a base deposit, and which we are, and have been continuing to grow. And then this is sort of what Terry's going to talk about right now, what we've been doing there.
Okay, so this slide basically just provides an overview of what this year's exploration program looks like. It's about a $6 million program. And again, really the focus, especially from a drilling standpoint, is going to be on our Betty property, where Dave mentioned, we got some really nice results down there last year. On the White Gold property, we're going to be active, again, on Rye Surprise, Newleys Ridge. Really, again, our focus over the last 2 or 3 years really hasn't been on the deposits themselves. It's been, we're working about 2 kilometers off to the west, as you'll see here. But really what we're trying to do is identify, new areas where we can really add some ounces to that overall project. So again, going back to the Betty, we've got some diamond drilling program planned on 2 targets, Betty Ford, where we had some really nice results last year. The Mascot target is a different target that had seen some RC drilling done about 10 years ago with some really encouraging results. Absolutely no diamond drilling done to date. And then, we've got, so basically diamond drilling, RC drilling, and some RAB drilling as well on those targets. On the White, it's pretty much, well, at least for Ulis and Ryans, it'll be all diamond drilling. But then Shawn will cover a slide here where we've got about a 6.5 kilometer long trend, which, Ryans and Ulis is part of that. But it really has been underexplored. We've got some really good geochemical anomalies. So this year we're going to do a focused prospecting program on that, develop some RAB drill targets, which we'll test later on in the season. And then we've got a fairly significant regional program on some of those other properties as well. Normally our regional program runs maybe 10-15% of our overall budget. So again, we're trying to constantly be identifying new targets which we can add to our pipeline for drill testing in subsequent years. Okay, so this is the Rye Surprise. If you look at the map on the left there, you can see where it's located relative to Golden Saddle and Arc. So that 6.5 kilometer long trend I was referring to, we're referring to that now as the Ryan's trend, but basically you can see the geochemistry, the soil geochemistry underneath there is the base map. And we've got a number of targets along there. The Rye Surprise really is the one that has received most attention in the past 2 or 3 years through drilling. We did first ever diamond drilling on Ulis last year, and again got some nice results. But if you look at the table there on the right, you can see that's kind of like a synopsis, I guess, of some of the highlights of drilling in the past 2 or 3 years. And you can see it's really a bit of a mix between, some really nice high grade material. You can see in that top row an RC hole had just about 21 grams over 6 meters. You can see the 17 grams, the 11 grams, but we also get some more lower grade bulk tonnage stuff, like second from the bottom there, you can see 1.66 over 25.5 meters. That was in one of the drill holes from last year. So anyway, like I said, we like what we're seeing at Ryan's, and we're planning on doing more work there again this year. So this is just sort of a summary, I guess, of the results from last year. The table on the right, there's some call outs in the map on the left. But again, you get that same kind of general feel for, some higher grade material. A lot of the intersections last year were, we've had 1.88 over 15 meters in the first hole and hole 19. Hole 20 had 1.66 over 25.5 meters. So again, it's the same story, I guess. Really a combination of broader, lower grade zones and some higher, narrower, higher grade zones. So, like I said, we really like what we're seeing there so far. So, this year is really going to be follow up drilling. Basically, so yeah, this is a schematic cross section. Basically, all the drilling we do, whether it's diamond drilling, RAB drilling, RC drilling, we use a tool called an optical televiewer, and basically survey every hole looking for structural information. In the Yukon, there's not much overburden, but there's also not very much outcrop. So the optical televiewer data really helps us unravel the structural controls. So at Ryan's and at Anomalies as well, actually, we see two dominant structural trends. So, when we're drill targeting, we're kind of trying to orient our drilling to kind of optimize, I guess, the intersections on those zones. So anyway, it's a structurally controlled system. As you can see, they're cross-cutting the stratigraphy. It's really, like I said, just a matter of doing more drilling, both on Ryan's. This year, we're going to be drilling in a gap area between Ryan's and Ulis. So, again, just trying to gradually advance our understanding and see if we can connect some of these zones across larger areas. So this is Ulis Ridge. Again, this is sort of a summary of the drilling we did last year, and really you get a sense that it's the same story again here. You can see in the table, 1.36 over 18.5 meters. The real standout hole last year, though, was hole 4 there in the lower right in the southeast corner. 19.5 meters of almost 7 gram material, and what we saw in that hole was really an intersection of two different structural trends. So we think that may be key, but again, there's some really high grade zones within that. You can see, they're 39 grams over 1.5 meters, 45.4 over 0.83. So that's going to be one of the areas, of course, where we're going to be following up this year. But like Shawn mentioned there, like what we did last year, you can see the RAB. We got some encouraging results from a RAB hole. RAB hole 6, you can see we had 4.67 grams over 6 meters. But you can also see how shallow we intersected that zone. So the RAB is a really good tool, I think, for taking a sort of a scouting tool. Is there gold? Is there not? What is the grade? What's the thickness? What we did then, of course, late in the season, when we saw those results come back from the lab, we said, well, let's test that down dip a little bit with a diamond drill hole. So that's where we got the 6.94 over 19.5 meters in drill hole 4. So again, really encouraging results. This was the first ever diamond drilling done on Uli, so we still, obviously, we're just getting at we're on our way to first base, basically. We have lots more work to do, but again, drilling around that high grade zone is going to be one of our target areas this year. And this is just a simplified cross section showing Rye Surprise to the north, Ulis Ridge to the south. And you can see there's a bit of a gap area that we're referring to as a gap. So, we've got a couple of holes planned in there this year. And we're hoping that, drilling those holes will show some connection between the two zones. again, based on the optical televiewer data, really they look quite similar. So we're somewhat confident that they may connect, but we obviously we have to drill those holes to establish that for sure. So. Yeah. Shawn, do you want to take this slide? Yeah. This is a good one for you to speak to.
Yeah. So these figures show the soil, basically all the soil samples we've taken, or at least the anomalies. So the one on the hard left is basically the gold points. And what I'm outlining, so what you can see is where the arc and the golden saddle, and all the black dots by the golden saddle and arc is the diamond drill holes. But so that's the gold soil anomaly map. And then if you look at the middle map, that's the arsenic map. And what you notice on the golden saddle, there's no arsenic. And then you can see the arc has arsenic. And so the history to the project is the golden saddle had no arsenic, and the arc had arsenic, but when it was a lower grade ore, like a gram to a gram and a half, but sometimes it was half a gram. So historically, like when Underworld had the project, they were only there for 2 years of drilling and then got bought out. Then Kinross poked a few more holes in the arc, but everybody started kind of poo-pooing the arc, that it was a lower grade, it was a gold arsenic system. So let's just deal with the golden saddle. So they kind of ignored anything with arsenic. So now when you actually go looking at the left-hand figure again, the gold figure, you can actually see that mineralized trend. Now they're calling them Ryan's trend. That's over 6.5 kilometers long of soil anomalies. And we're just starting to tap in at the south end with Uli's Ridge and Rye Surprise. So now you could see when you look at the middle map, okay, yep, there's the basically Rye Surprise and the Uli's who's got arsenic. But what Uli's kind of did this summer or this fall was like I call it like kind of the aha moment in kind of this exploration stage, the life of this stage, is that the teacher's showing back in 2003, I was finding rocks on the Yukon River bank that were running 1 ounce per ton gold, but had like almost 1% arsenic. So it's very rich in arsenic. But so it wasn't like the arc, but everybody kept saying, no, arsenic and gold systems are lower grade. But we knew the teacher showing had some higher grades. But the rocks that we hit on Uli's Ridge this summer, like with the diamond drill, they had some 1 ounce intersections in there with 1% arsenic. So they look quite close to the same. So that's kind of from a prospecting point of view has got me all excited, because that trend, nobody's really gone to the highest arsenic anomalies. So that's what the map on the right-hand side shows you, is the gold background, and all them purple dots are the super highest arsenic of our population, like on the property. But you could see that linear trend that has gold arsenic, basically anomalies. And there's the lower one that he just highlighted, that's Uli's Ridge. So the idea is that, like, from a prospecting point of view, like this might be what we were looking for, because it's got better grades in it. So, and then you could chase it deeper because it's not just an open pit material. But the idea is that this thing is basically ready to walk out there, and that's what we're going to do, is just walk that trend, go to them purple dots with a shovel and a soil auger and an XRF that gives us a good arsenic zap. And we're just going to actually dig holes on these high-grade soil anomalies and then locate the highest grade arsenic with the XRF. It gets that quick and that simple. So then we're going to establish RAB targets right away. And then we're going to follow that up with probably 15 holes in August. And this is exactly the blueprint we did with Uli's. Once we seen Uli's had a bunch of arsenic, we fast-tracked them assays and then realized it was good gold. And then we hit it with a diamond drill. So there is a possibility that the back end in September, if we still have some time and budget, that we may follow up if we get some good RAB targets coming out of this arsenic trend here. So yeah, so this is from my perspective as a prospector, this is what we've been looking for, because we're teetering around 2 million ounces on the white property itself. So we actually, we got to get this to 2.5 to 3. And so we may have a bunch of high grade stuff in here that may help us do that here. So this is the blue sky. I call it the blue sky because this can really basically give us more tonnage real quick. And just so everybody understands from the history, Underworld drilled 21 holes in 2008 and then 100 holes in 2009. And they had 1.5 million ounces outlined at the end of 2009. So once you tap into this system, the right spot, things can move pretty quick here. So I'm pretty excited about this. And really, this is like, I found this back in 2003. We're finally connecting the dots. So that's what's kind of fun about a project. And it does take time. So, but this will be the blue sky targets for this project.
Good. This is our Betty property. Again, the Betty and the White really, like I said, will be our focus this year. But we really like the Betty. You can see the map on the right there, kind of the general neighborhood. Newmont's Coffee Project is just off to the west. Casino is only about 15 kilometers to the southwest. Really good geology. I mean, we like the geology. We like the structural setting. We like here's the aeromagnetics. You can see the coffee deposit off to the west there. If you follow the blue line all the way across there, basically that's the Coffee Creek Fault. So we have a number of targets on the Betty property itself. The Betty Ford, we got some really good results there last year, about 3.5 grams over 50 meters, like Dave said, just about right from surface. The Mascot target, that's in a bit of a different geological setting. It's intrusive hosted. But again, from RC drilling done there in the past, about 10 years ago by Ethos Gold, some really encouraging results. There's been no diamond drilling done on that target at all. So that's going to be our focus this year. This map here, basically, the two tables really, the top one shows results for the Betty Ford. You can see the initial RAB drilling back in 2018 that we did. We had a couple of really good holes, 0.94 over about 24 meters, and then one hole was 1 gram over 50 meters. So that's the RAB drilling, and then in the lower table, you can see that's pointing to that Mascot target. That's really the largest geochemical anomaly on the property. But again, you can see some really nice results there. There's really 3 primary targets, I guess, that we're interested in there: the Page, the Boop, and the Davis. But really encouraging results from each one of those. But there's been absolutely no diamond drilling done on that target. So this year will represent sort of the maiden diamond drilling program for that particular target. So we're quite excited about that one, actually.
Yeah, I agree. And then just to chime in a bit, and maybe Shawn will have some more color. People always, the question I get asked quite frequently is, what took you guys so long to drill this property, right? It's obviously in prime real estate beside the casino and the coffee project. And my answer is we've been blessed with so many targets, so many opportunities. We're not going to drill a target until we're ready, right? And being ready is based on the data, based on the workup. We've engaged some tremendous consultants to assist with our team, and the way I think I sort of think about it now is some companies are exploration companies that will collect data, and we're almost more of a data analysis company that performs exploration. And the work that these guys have done is just sort of so impressive. And where you really see that is the translation of the success ratio, with the amount of drilling that's been done, right? For us to have those 2 new discoveries last year on maiden diamond drilling programs on both targets, I think that's almost unheard of. And I really want to sort of congratulate the team on them being able to sort of dial it in so quickly. And now we're in the favorable position of we know that there's gold there. The tenor of these holes, especially on this Betty hole, 50 meters, 3.5 grams, that usually speaks to a very robust system with a lot of gold and a lot of fluids moving through there. That we're pretty optimistic we're going to be able to define and expand further this year with more with our targeted drilling, not sort of just preliminary maiden type drilling.
Okay, so this slide basically shows the Betty Ford. You can see there the map on the left there. Like I said, Rab Hole 1 had 0.94 over 24 meters, and then we had the 1 gram over 50 meters in Rab Hole 2. So last year, of course, the first hole 1, we basically tried to twin that whole Rab Hole 2 from 2018. Basically got pretty much exactly the same thickness and grade, 48 meters of 1.17. But again, I think it's a testament, I guess, to how well the RAB drilling works sometimes or most times actually in sort of a first pass, because really, the diamond drilling basically duplicated the results in that hole. Hole 3, we had, even the stronger hole was about 100 meters off to the east, 3.46 over 50 meters. So, and then, some slightly higher grade sub-intervals, 5.25 over 19 meters. So really, we were quite happy with those results from last year. And this year, we're going to go back in and really use a combination of diamond drilling and RC drilling to try to follow that zone, establish grade continuity and so on, just to see if we can, establish some size to it. But, in terms of results from last year, like we were quite excited and happy with those on a first pass. This is a cross section showing the zone. Again, you can see, the RAB, the hole that you're seeing there on the right, that's a RAB hole from 2018. And then the diamond drill hole, which basically is adjacent to that, about 3.5 over 50. And it's within a new lithological unit that we identified during the diamond drilling. We really didn't know it existed until last year when we diamond drilled it. When it was RAB drilled back in 2018, we didn't really key in on the fact that this is really a nice polylithic breccia unit. And I think the next slide shows some core photos. So it's a really nice looking rock, lots of nice matrix material, a variety of different rock types within the breccia. We've got porphyry fragments, metasedimentary fragments, quartz vein fragments, altered ultramafics, you name it. But one of the nice things we really like about the zone is the consistency of grade throughout it. You can see, the text is a little small there, but you can get a sense that pretty much every sample is basically running anywhere, say, from 3 to about 8 grams. So, it's not a matter of 1 or 2 really high grade samples that are carrying the zone. There seems to be a fairly even distribution of gold mineralization throughout it. So, like I said, we got a lot of work to do on it, but we really like what we saw last year. So we're going to go back in this year and follow up that drilling. This is a new structural interpretation that Matthias Sanchez did for us last year, and we're doing this on a number of our properties. Basically, the 2 primary things that we use is LiDAR data and magnetics. So, it really helps us understand, I think, the controls at different. This would be more of a property scale structural interpretation. So we take it from that scale right down to, like I said, the optical televiewer is standard across all the drilling we do. So we're looking at the structural history base and controls at a property right down to, the target scale. So it really, in an area like the Yukon where there's not much outcrop, I think, we're doing a really good job in doing the best we can really to understand what the structural controls are. So that's been a good tool for us. So these are some of the key takeaways, I guess, from this year's program. In total, about 7,500 meters of drilling is planned. The most of that, of course, is diamond drilling, about 5,000 meters. But then we've got about 1,000 meters of RC, 1,500 meters of RAB. So, a nice mix. And again, that's across 2 properties, the Betty and the White Gold property. So more or less the same projects, I guess, that we targeted last year, just following up on some of those results. So again, like I mentioned, Betty Ford is going to be one of those 3.5 grams over 50 meters. So, and then the mascot target, that's, the one just off to the southeast there within the intrusives, but basically following up with first ever diamond drilling on some of those encouraging RC drill results from about 10 years ago. So again, this will be the first, core drilling on that target. So, yeah, so we're excited about that one. We've got RC and RAB drilling again planned on other targets on the Betty. The White Gold property, we've primarily, the goal there is threefold, I would say. We've got some, the gap area between Ryan's and Anomalies, really a couple of holes in there to try to establish continuity between those two zones. Drilling down around the high grade at Anomalies that we encountered in hole 4 last year. And then at Rye Surprise, we're looking at doing a little bit of infill drilling on some of the holes that we've done in the past. We were hoping to eventually take it to a resource estimate. So that latter drilling will help fill in some of those areas where the hole spacing is a little too coarse. And then, I'll refer back to the slide that Shawn was speaking to there, that 6.5 kilometer gold arsenic trend. We're hoping to, really be able to identify some nice RAB drill targets on that, which we'll do late in the season. And, that really does have the potential of opening up that blue sky that Shawn referred to there. So, we're excited about that. And then we got the regional program, of course, which, I think we're targeting around 10 properties, but, a combination of soil sampling, LiDAR surveys, mapping, some geophysics and that kind of work. So anyway, it's another, it's going to be another busy season, but we're really optimistic. We're, the drilling in particular, of course, is what has got us most excited. So we'll see how it goes. But anyway, we should be drilling within a few days here. So yeah.
Perfect. Thanks, Terry. That's a great overview, and just sort of to give my synopsis of why I'm so excited. The fact that we can be, having this many targets that are seeing, maiden drill programs in Canada in 2022, it's a pretty unique situation. And I've been fortunate enough in the past to, been involved with a number of high-profile success stories. And when I look back, what was it that led to the success in those different companies? It was the team. It was the approach. I think we certainly have shown that that's led to a tremendous amount of success. The land package, the jurisdiction, the previous success in the area. Clearly that's all covered, and that I think is what our partners share our enthusiasm there. Nico and Kinross, and have them backing us is, to, in my view, a tremendous vote of confidence to the opportunity here. So really grateful for everyone's contributions here. The jurisdiction, the support that we're getting from the territorial and federal government with the resource gateway, with how actively and helpful they are in progressing the permitting for ourselves and other companies in the district and in the territory, I think speaks volumes. The First Nations are partners in this as well. Very fortunate to have strong working relationships with them, which we take very seriously, and of course are working together to have success shared by all stakeholders in the district. And this is what we've been waiting for. Drills are turning in a few days, like Terry saw, and with the mix of very focused follow-up we have on last year's discovery, a couple maiden programs, following up on some very prospective data. I couldn't be more excited for where we are at this point in time. And all I can say is stay tuned. We hope to have lots of good news to share with you over the coming months.
Great. Well, thank you so much. I think with the last 15 minutes, we'll jump right into the live Q&A. There are a bunch of questions here, so let's get started. The Yukon has attracted the investment of many majors, Agnico, Kinross, Newmont, and most recently Rio Tinto through their stake in Western Copper and Gold. What is it about the Yukon that makes it such an attractive jurisdiction for mineral exploration and investment?
Well, I'll touch on it, and maybe I'll turn over to Shawn. He's sort of the man who's spent the time there.
I can jump in. Yeah, really, the Yukon like the Yukon represents, like I'm from the Timmins camp where everybody's looking for gold 1,000 feet below surface. But in the Yukon, we're actually still using like a soil auger to find these new discoveries. So the low hanging fruit is still up here in the Yukon. And it hasn't really been thoroughly explored, but now we've given this white gold district a good kick. And that's what's kind of interesting is that like white gold now, because we have all these soils, we actually know where the anomalies are. So that's what white gold's in. Now they're into the drilling stage. But that's why the Yukon is actually it's one of the last spots left to find near surface mineralization.
And Shawn, can you speak more on your innovative exploration strategy and why it's so effective in the Yukon?
Well, what we did, like previous exploration companies, like back in the 70s and 80s or in the early 90s, everybody's primary, you got tools in your toolbox for exploration. So geologists, grab a rock hammer, and geophysics guys grab their instruments. But here we had actually we didn't have any, there's only 2 or 3% outcrop exposure. So if you're a prospector or a geologist with a rock hammer, you have hardly anything to look at. But what we ended up doing is going back to soils, because it was never it's in a non-glaciated area, which means the glaciers never hit this area. And your kind of soils did like the placer, it just basically kind of went down a little bit lower in the soil profile. That's where the mineralization kind of sat down there. So we just used these soil augers and went down 2.5 feet versus using a Pulaski and taking the top 6 inches. And that was where the response level was better for geochemistry. And then we just ended up mapping out the district with geochemistry because we could map out the geology with it also. It's a little bit expensive, but it actually it finds these deposits. And just to give you an idea, like the coffee, the latte was one soil on 50-meter spacing on ridge and spurs. It was discovered with a one soil hit. So that's why we pay attention to the soils we gather. We have a special program. So that was kind of the secret sauce to this district, was taking high quality soils, basically, having a well-trained team to do it. And then starting to follow up now with some geophysical techniques, such as we're using, basically high res resist IP surveys, which is 5-meter electrode spacing. We use that technique to understand the structure. And then we're now using the old system VLF, but there's an inversion with that actually shows you the dip to the structure. And because we're in a gold system, we're mostly looking for structures. So that's why, so we kind of have a system that, once you find the soil anomaly, you follow it up with some geophysics. And then there's a little bit of probing, which is another instrument that goes to the bedrock interface. That's on a little track vehicle. And then we have the RAB. RAB was a great tool. It's mostly used in Australia and Nevada. But it's a third the cost of the diamond drill, but you don't get core. So that was kind of, Shawn, you get RAB, but you don't get core. So now we put in an optical televiewer down the hole, and that gives us kind of a virtual core picture. And because it's a RAB that's pulverizing the sample, we could actually use an XRF to zap the dirt, the sample, the powder coming out, which is actually a better medium than actually hitting a piece of that rock like core. So that XRF and the televiewer with the RAB gave us a really good, inexpensive way to test a target out until we, to give us the confidence to bring the diamond drill target, or the diamond drill basically drill out to the project. So it's using these kind of other tools like LiDAR. Terry mentioned LiDAR. LiDAR is everybody's just started using maybe in the last 5 or 6 years, but that really pins down the structure. It helps us interpret. So these kind of new tools that are coming up in the toolbox, we grabbed and used to answer various questions.
Great, thank you so much. We have a question here from Matt, who says he's a shareholder. When will you actively mine some of your holdings so I can enjoy the fruits of your labor?
That's a good question. If all goes to plan, these will not be mined by White Gold. We have partners like Agnico and Kinross that's their specialty. This team is built for exploration and discovery. So as a company, the thesis when we put the company together is White Gold will be a project generator. Get out there, make the grassroots discovery, and then look to monetize those in whatever capacity makes sense at that current time to reward the shareholders and to provide capital to the company to continue doing what they're doing. And advance our program throughout the rest of the district. And with the size of the package we have and the prospectivity, this could be going on for decades to come, literally. And that's our goal. That's our dream. Hopefully during that time, and I think it's going to start sooner rather than later, we're going to see this camp come to fruition with the roads being built, the coffee going into production, the Golden Saddle, maybe the casino as well. And we'll be sort of sitting there in the middle of this brand new camp, basically owning 80% of the targets and 40% of the landmass. So, I think that's a big vision, but if you want to dream big with big opportunities, and that's what White represents.
Great. Jane's asking, are you planning any additional financing in the near future? And what is the cash in the bank right now?
Yeah, we're really fortunate to have this program fully funded. We did a financing late last year to provide us with enough capital to get through this program and well into 2023.
Okay, great. Next question is, logistically, how difficult would it be to establish infrastructure when the claims are so scattered?
I can jump in. Like the claim blocks are.
Shawn, go ahead.
Want me to jump in?
Yep.
Okay, yeah. So the claim blocks are scattered, but the idea is that the white is in one area, and it's basically eventually when that road hits the coffee project, we'll be tied into that road system. So that's how. It's the road systems that's given us the infrastructure that to help the whole project, like the overall project. So that's, but that's Newmont's just got one of their big permits in place. So now they still need a water license, but that shouldn't take too long. And then the government is going to, once they give the go ahead that they're going to go for that deposit, the government will push that road in. And then, like I say, then we'll be able to drive a fuel truck right to the property. So, but all the rest of the projects are all like there's a whole pile of road networks in there, and like from the placer miners in the district. So they're all going to they're all basically kind of connect into that main trunk line that the government is going to, because that road is there already. It's just a little tote road, like some of it's just trails. So the government's going to put the money in to make it haul grade roads. So that'll be the key.
Is the grade continuity an issue for the underground resources if the cutoff grade is higher?
Continuity is always a concern.
You can speak.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, it's a good question. And of course, we need to establish, what the continuity really looks like. But it requires a lot more drilling. Like I said, in just looking at the Golden Saddle, there really hasn't been any concerted effort to follow the underground material. So, a lot more work needs to be done, I guess you could say. But like I said, it just, you need more drilling, basically. Yeah.
Thank you. Is the relationship between gold and copper consistent? And is arsenic a better proxy when using XRF?
Like we don't have the gold, the Golden Saddle is gold only. The Arc is gold arsenic, but we have actually no copper in that part of the system. So it's so we use arsenic, now we've been using it on Uli's Ridge, and that's a good proxy to gold. So that's how we know from the XRF. And then that's what we're planning to do on that Ryan's trend is use the XRF, zap in the rocks and soils, figure out the arsenic content, and lock into the highest arsenic areas.
Rod's asking, how do we get the market excited about the project? It all seems very promising with favorable results, but the share price and interest seems to lag.
Well, I guess start with more success in the field, which I think, hopefully we've designed a program that will allow for that. take the opportunity to educate the market about our company and the opportunity, like this platform here, something we've are trying to invest more time and resources towards. Where in the earlier days, we were sort of a smaller team and just more focused on getting the work done. So certainly it's something that's top of mind. We are very large shareholders and very entirely aligned with the shareholders. That's our reward at the end of the day. It's our goal, share price appreciation. There's a lot of sophisticated people, I think, understand how deeply undervalued this company is. The analyst reports that cover our company show targets multiples of where we are today. I think 270 might be the lowest. So a tremendous amount of upside opportunity. From a risk reward perspective, personally, obviously very biased. I think there's not many opportunities that have that risk reward profile, but whereas White Gold has significant deposits. I think we've shown the ability that we'll be able to increase those significantly with what we have already and what I think we're going to tap into further here. And that's not even looking at what I think is the most exciting part of this company is this grassroots new discoveries, right? I think we have a real tiger by the tail here at the Betty property. So we're going to keep doing what we need to do, the most important success in the field, and then from the capital market side, work to continue help get the word out there, and hopefully the market will reward us in kind.
All right, thank you. Stephen's asking, can you please explain your methodology in raising capital? Do you hope for higher prices to issue more shares, or do you monitor your prospective number of ounces and make sure that they're accretive to any new share issuance? If it's neither, can you just explain the process?
Junior exploration companies, it's all, it's a business of managing dilution. Like I mentioned, we're very large shareholders. We're very sensitive to that. We clearly, want to raise capital when we need it at the highest share prices possible. We're very fortunate to have had some great capital partners with different investment banks, Claris and Power One, that's supported us throughout the years, and as well as our partners Agnico and Kinross, who have been tremendous financial partners as well. The Sprott group of companies have also been amazing supporters, and we're going to work hard for them and everyone else to increase the value of everyone's investments.
Great. David's asking, any supply chain or labor issues outstanding as you start the 2022 campaign?
I would say no. It's obviously challenging, I think, for everyone in the industry. It's very busy, but I think we're in position really well. We work closely with a company here based in Dawson City, Ground Truth Exploration. From a logistical standpoint, I think they really assist us quite a bit. But we have our team of geologists and other people that we need to execute the program. Having said that, like I said, it's challenging just because it's going to be a busy season for 2022, not just for White Gold, but for the whole industry.
Great, thank you. Well, for the last 3 minutes in closing, what should shareholders and potential investors be excited about for the upcoming season?
I'll say drill results coming from both Betty and from the White Gold property. We're really optimistic, I think, for the program that we planned out. I think it'd be an important year really for, being able to say, what some of these targets really, what potential they have. So we'll see. But I would say drill results.
Yep, I'll echo that. And like Shawn said,
I'll jump in. Like when you get these nice drill results, like the Betty, like 50 meters of 3.5 grams, it tells you there's a robust system. There's a lot of juice rolling through. So that's going to be a cool thing to follow up. And, statistically, when we hit numbers like that, there was deposits, close by, but that mineralized trend on the White property, that's a really good blue sky, and that could change the share price quite dramatically.
David, anything to add?
Yeah, no, that's exactly what's got me so excited, and the fact that we're able to do that. We're focused on targets that are near surface in an incredible jurisdiction of Yukon, Canada. We really couldn't ask for more with the backing of amazing partners that we've had all along. This thing's really checked all the boxes to maximize our opportunities for success. So, fingers crossed, we'll have more great results this year.
Great. Well, we are just right at the end of the hour. I just want to thank you so much, David, Shawn, and Terry, for providing this update, and also for everyone who joined today and asked all these great questions. I know we didn't get a chance to answer all of them, but be sure to feel free to reach out directly to the White Gold Corp team, and they'll be happy to follow up with you directly. I'll also send all these questions over so they can you can make sure that you get your answers. But also, you can find more information on the White Gold website. It's whitegoldcorp.ca, and of course, this has been recorded, so you can watch it again on 6.com. But before we close out, I'll just pass it back for any closing remarks, David.
Yeah, I think we had a great little synopsis at the end. Drills are turning. We've had some great grassroots discovery. We're following up on them. Maiden diamond drill program, incredible area. Significant deposit growing. With the exploration deficiency we've seen in the last 10 years globally, I think the backdrop for precious metals and is strong, particularly from an M&A perspective. Majors, the producers need to increase their pipeline, and sort of White Gold's got the goods. It's a very exciting company to be a part of, and very grateful that we can be.